Welcome to the studios, and we have our guests in the studios. You know, there are different days with different themes on Momentum. Thursday, well, it is face-to-face, and today's topic, very interesting, as we unmask scams. So our topic would be unmasking scams, and we have our guests in the studio. I'd like to say a very good morning and welcome to Dr. Shamir Rajadurai, Crime Prevention Specialist. Prevent crime now. Very good morning to you, Doc.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me, Gilbert. It's a pleasure being here.
And I believe I'll be addressing Dr. Shamir as Doc throughout the interview. Yeah, he wants it to be very casual, so I'm going to make it very casual this morning.
Yep.
Doc, is this your first time here in TRAXXfm?
I know, actually, it's been a while since I've been back, but I've been here multiple times, and it's always a pleasure coming back here.
Thank you so much. I'm sure it is different. Every time when you come here, it's a different face, I think.
It's a different face, different environment, but it's always good information.
And always friendly. Definitely we are. Thank you so much, Dr. Shamir, better known as Dr. Shamir Rajadurai. So addressing him as Doc right here in the studios. And when you talk about scams, I think I was reading one also from social media just now with what our Prime Minister said as the Parliament is in progress and all that. And he was giving statistics about the various kinds of crimes and how much do we, or how many, or the amount, the ballpark figure amount that we face in the country. But I'm very sure we will be getting more information from you, Doc.
Yes, definitely looking forward to share all this information, mainly so that we can take whatever necessary steps to ensure the safety of all our listeners here.
Nice. And just to let you know, for the benefit of our listeners, we are live on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Yes, definitely it is. All three of those social media platforms. You can stream us and watch us live. That's hashtag TRAXXfm. And if you'd like to comment or just say hi to Doc, you can on our Facebook comment columns. Yes, definitely it is going to be informative, should I say, morning. All right, so it's 21 minutes past the hour and jumping into our questions. But before that, Doc, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so, I'm in the field of crime prevention, but what I mainly do or what gives me slightly better information about crime is that I actually go to the grassroots of crime to understand it better. What do I mean by that is I learn crime from criminals. So the information I'm sharing with you is not just based upon theories or anything like that. It's actually based upon actual on how crime actually happened, and so that we get a better understanding of it. You know, most of the time we always hear it from the victim's perspective, but it's also good to understand it from the other side as well.
You mean from a person who gets himself involved in things like that? So you actually had a chance to chat with that person and look at his perspective and how does he do it and why does that person does it and things like that.
Yes.
Wow, that is so interesting. Just a little bit about Dr. Shamir Rajadurai. Doc, could you explain some of the most common types of scams here in Malaysia? Jumping into our questions right now.
So, you know, the amount of scams that goes on is ridiculous, right? Every time there's something new, but the most common ones, we have the love scam that actually took a peak during the pandemic.
All right.
And then we've got something called pinjaman tak wujud, non-existent loan. But one of the most lucrative scams in Malaysia is what we call the Macau scam. Now we've probably just changed the name to phone scam because, you know, they've changed a bit of their MO. But yeah, these are the three top scams, if you ask me, that's going on in Malaysia, and this is what most of us are becoming victims to.
Okay, so they even changed their modus operandi and the way they operate and how they do things.
You know, as we evolve with time, scammers evolve as well.
Improvising,
you know, and of course, maybe we'll add on a little bit on what are some of the upcoming scams, and AI scams are what is currently out and about or new in the market, to say.
Okay, so there you go. Just to give you, to our listeners, just to give you a little basic updates about or information about scams that we have these times around, the types of scams and things like that. Doc, how does or how do these scams typically operate, and how does the scammer manipulate the victim?
So one of the things that we realized and what we understood from scammers is that the main reason why they are successful is because people are gullible.
Okay.
And people are greedy. when we talk about investment scams, that's how it happens. And when we talk about people being gullible, it's because, when they say someone calls you up and they say, hey, I'm from the police,
Right.
or I'm from this department, I'm from the courts and all.
Okay.
And we buy into that story because it sounds so legitimate.
Right.
And why is it, or what they use to hook you in, is that they will actually call you and state your real name. They'll probably state your IC number.
Okay.
They'll probably state your home address.
All right.
And if maybe they're pretending to be the police and saying, hey, you're involved in a hit and run, they'll probably state your car number plate as well.
Okay.
Right? So with all this information, and sometimes the demeanor or the voice which they use, just say if a police officer calls, ini Encik Gilbert ke, ini saya panggil daripada IPD ni, I just want to make sure that this is your full name, your IC number. Then you'll be like, yeah.
Right.
I know we identified your car in a hit and run. That strong voice sometimes.
Right.
We also buy in because that's what we perceive police officers sound like.
I believe it's fear when somebody
Fear?
calls you up and
Yep.
you say that you have done something like this,
Yep.
and fear kicks in, and when
Massive.
fear kicks in, I think you go blank for a while.
Yes.
And you fall for it.
You fall for it. Well, that's one of the ways, right?
Okay.
And of course, when it comes to love scam,
All right.
it's all about sweet talking a person,
Okay.
right? How do you, you're so beautiful today, and everyone wants to hear that they are beautiful. Everyone wants to hear that they are handsome.
Right.
And one of the most common things they do is they find common grounds that you have. So they've
Right.
done a bit of research on you, your profile, and say, oh, you like hiking? Dude, Gilbert, I love hiking, Oh my God, when I came back from work today, your voice was the first one I wanted to hear. When I hear you on radio every day, that's how I go to sleep.
Oh.
Is even you are falling for me right now.
My jaw was opening, but wow. Okay, so but you did mention that when it comes to love scams, most of it happened during the pandemic when everybody was, what I should say, at home and
Yes.
things like that, and then loneliness kicks in and things.
Yes.
And that's where they fall for this kind of thing.
Yeah, because end of the day, everyone is longing for that human interaction, that human love, that human touch, right?
Right.
And one of the ways of getting it during the pandemic, unfortunately, was online.
Right.
And
right.
this, whenever there are opportunities,
Yeah.
scammers are the first ones to jump at it.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to mention exactly on what platform, but the one that you scroll left and you scroll right.
Yes,
Scroll right.
yes,
You know that one.
Yes.
I'm not going to elaborate on that one, but you as a listener, you should be knowing. My producers are in the studios with me. Thank you so much to Chenta, and also we have Anna. Thank you so much, and Lisham together with Zam. Yeah. All right. So, well, they are also laughing with this one. Yeah, I think they already got it. But okay, Doc, jumping into our next question before we take a short song break, and there you go, the types of scams and how do scammers typically operate and things like that. Thank you so much for that. Doc, what are the red flags? Now, every time when you see or when you know this term as red flag, okay, so what are red flags to look out for and what to do when you come across them?
Okay, this would be quite a big breakdown, but let me just summarize it very quickly. If it comes to a love scam, for example, and the reason why I want to highlight this first is because a lot of people assume that love scam only happens to the elderly. It actually happens to a lot of young people as well.
Right.
So what are some of the red flags is that, first of all, look into just say they add you on Instagram, for example, or Facebook, doesn't matter which platform. Look at when the photos have been uploaded. What you will usually see is that just say this beautiful girl is now added you,
Right.
And you will see her photos. She'll be, in Paris one day, in London another day, all around the world.
Oh.
But all the photos have been uploaded within the same week, for example, right? So then you're probably, that's one red flag. You're like, this person cannot be traveling all around just in this 1 week, for
Just 1
example,
week, yes.
right? And then you also see when was the account created. So the first thing you do is that you go to the profile. There's a tab, you can click the 3 dots on there, and you see when was this account created. So you can click about this profile,
Okay.
look when the account was created.
Okay.
And that is one of the ways. And also, I think sometimes it's good to question the intention of the other party as well, and maybe also to reflect a little bit and to think, why is this person falling head over heels for me? I'm not saying, you're not worth it, but also sometimes it's good to just reflect a little bit and say, if this person is talking to me like this and I hardly know this person and immediately they're saying I'm falling for you, like I said, I cannot sleep without hearing your voice,
Right.
so on and so forth. Probably think a little bit why,
Right.
So maybe
These are the red flags.
these are the red flags just for the love scam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then anything that any other
And if you look, for example, the Macau scam, which is one of the top ones around,
right.
We'll always want to say, first of all, yes, everybody that's calling you probably says, I know your name, your IC number, which is accurate. And the reason being is because your details are all over the country by now.
Okay.
And there's no real, if somebody calls me and reads out my IC number, I'd be like, dude, that's not impressive. Everybody knows my IC number by now. So, but the other things that you want to look out for is, why is the police calling me and telling me to bank in money? If they are going to catch me, fine, let them come over. Right? Or Naman, I will come to the balai. There is no such thing as saying, there's a warrant out for you. If you don't settle this in the next 2 hours, I'm going to pay you. I'm going to catch you.
All right. Well, just to share a little bit, Doc, I think I know a personal friend who got caught with this particular one.
Yeah.
I think the figure was around 1,000 plus.
Yeah.
Okay, just to share a little bit, they did not manage to get the husband, but they got the wife.
Okay.
And they said that we are already issued the arrest warrant for your husband. So being a concerned wife, definitely she wants to get it done fast.
Yep.
And they said if you don't do it in a certain time. So I think that's where you go to a blank spot in your head.
Yes.
Due to panic.
Yep.
And you do not want anything to happen.
Yep.
And even most of us, I think all of us, you do not want embarrassment, especially when you're a wife. You don't want that embarrassment to be happening to your husband. So you immediately credit in the amount.
Of course. The fear has kicked in.
After when you do that, that's when you realize, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Why didn't I check first? So panic kicks in, I think.
Yeah.
That's what happened to this individual.
Yeah. And I'm very sure they did not let her put down the phone as well.
Oh, yes.
Yes. They said stay on. They keep that fear in you, right?
In you.
Right.
They keep it there. So once you have fear, everything else shuts off in your system, I think.
One thing I just have to say, your friend's wife is actually a very nice person. I think a lot of my friends, their wives would have said, no, please take him away. They'll be like, please come sooner. I will bank in money for you to come now.
The other way around. Okay, so there you go. This is some of the alarming things that probably we face as we go on. It's getting improvised, I should say,
Yes.
Doc.
Yep.
And yes, as the good doctor did explain to us the red flags and what we should be looking out for when we come across them. Thank you so much. We'll be taking a short song break. And when we come back, it's going to be more interesting questions here that we have for you. How do one fall victim to scams, so on and so forth. So when we come back, it's going to be more questions here on Face to Face today. Very interesting topic, unmasking scams. And we are talking to Dr. Shamir Rajadurai, crime prevention specialist. Prevent crime now. Back in a bit. Stay tuned. Welcome to the show. Very good morning. This is Gilbert here on TRAXXfm's Momentum. Face to face on Thursdays, different days with different themes. And today, our guest in the studio, topic would be unmasking scams. Yes, you heard me right. And we're talking to Dr. Shamir Rajadurai, crime prevention specialist, Prevent Crime Now. And it was very interesting. Thank you so much, Doc, for being here with us in the studios once again.
No, thank you very much. I think, first of all, what TRAXXfm is doing is amazing. You're having the segments where you're giving people knowledge on how to prevent from becoming victims. So I think I must thank you.
Thank you once again. Accepted. All right. And the good doctor was talking to us about, or explaining to us about most of the types of scams that we have or face here in Malaysia, the various categories that they are, and how do scammers typically operate, and well, the red flag. When we were talking about red flag, we were talking about the types of scams and the red flags that you should look out for. And well, the good doctor did explain to us about two of the main ones, and we would like to get a bit more into, we missed out one.
Yes.
A red flag that we should look out for, especially when it comes to
Pinjaman tak wujud, non-existent loan, right?
Non-existent loans. But just before that, Doc, to let our listeners know that we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. And if you'd like to have any comments, questions, probably you could get onto our Facebook page itself. That's TRAXXfm, and do leave a comment. I'll probably like to say hi to Doc. You can, okay? So, Doc, yes, pinjaman tak wujud. That's another interesting one here. Red flag that we should look out.
Yeah, so first of all, if it's a non-registered money lender, never go to them. Right, but what happens is that most of the time these guys you'll probably get a message out of nowhere, or even online you might see, oh, loan approved in 30 minutes, blacklisted, is okay, doesn't matter, you know.
Right.
Immediate red flags, right?
Okay.
What I would just say when it comes to this is that what techniques they use is this. They will say, hey, look, I can approve 5,000 for you based on your pay slip, right? Don't worry, you're blacklisted, that's not an issue. Just send me your documents, I'll approve everything. In half an hour or 10 minutes, I'll call you back. Hey, dude, actually, I spoke to my boss. Instead of just taking 5,000, we can actually approve 50,000 for you. Why not you take the 50? Then you'll be like, okay, that's quite cool, right? But for me to process this, I need maybe for you to show a sign of good faith. Maybe you're banking to 1,000 or 2,000 to me, right?
Oh.
So you bank in because you're thinking now I'm going to get 50. And then when he goes through the whole process, he'll call you back in 20 minutes and say, my boss is not so convinced. Can you bank in another 500 or not? Then you'll be like, hey, but I already gave you 2,000. He's like, but dude, just another 500 and we'll get this 50,000 for you. And then you bank in. And then they're going to call you back with another excuse. And by the time you've banked in all this money,
right,
you probably spend more than what you initially wanted to borrow.
There you go.
Right.
That's alarming.
Yes. And what hooks you on is that the fact that you've already paid and you're going to be in a state of denial that it's a scam.
Okay.
Right? Because you're like, okay, no. And they're going to tell you, no, one more payment. I promise you, one more payment. I cannot return the money that you've already banked in. Rugi only if you stop halfway now. Right? So you are roped, you're just hooked there.
Right.
And you are going to continue giving with the hope that you're going to get your money.
Okay.
Right, so please be very, very cautious about this pinjaman tak wujud. This guy's basically, you're just giving money for something that doesn't exist.
There you go. So that's the one that we missed out in the earlier part, and Doc did say that I have to emphasize on this one here.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Doc. Okay, getting back to the next question here. Okay, so we have understood on how do we look out for red flags and the types of scams and the breakdown to it. Now, who are the victims? Who mostly likely to fall for victim to scams, and why do they exactly fall for this kind of thing?
Okay, this is very interesting. A lot of times people have asked me, hey, who falls victims to scams and all.
Okay.
A lot of us might think it's the uneducated people who are not educated, right? The makcik in the kampung, someone illiterate or anything like that. But very interestingly, actually there were some statistics that showed the biggest group of people who are victims are actually teachers. Teachers.
Okay. That's shocking.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we were looking at why, I don't think we can really narrow down the exact reason why teachers are victims, but probably for a few reasons. When we were talking to teachers and they say, oh, of course we will be victims, we always look at the good in people. So it's probably that as well, right? And also maybe, just so busy with things and all, with schoolwork, you might just slip your mind, especially if you're maybe teaching primary and secondary school. It's still a very innocent age for children, and you're dealing a lot with this innocence. So the last thing you'll expect is someone to actually call and scam you, right? you're just surrounded by innocence throughout the day.
That is so unfair
Yes.
to people who provide us with knowledge and
Yeah.
with all their time and sacrifices, and they are the
They're
biggest
the ones.
amount.
Yeah. So I really hope teachers who are listening to this now, you continue to educate the rest of the teachers
Right.
that please be very, very careful if you ever receive a call or anything suspicious.
Okay, I think I have one of my cousins tuning into us. Geraldine, if you're listening here, she's from the Ministry of Education.
Nice.
Yeah, she's also tuning into us. Yeah, so there you go. So these are the statistics and figures that has shown that those are the most likely to fall for victim.
Yeah, and a lot,
each
again,
category.
we always think. Please don't think just because we're educated. Every time we see in the news as well, doctors, engineers, all becoming victims, right?
Yes.
So I think the one thing that we should remove is our ego to think that look, nobody's going to be able to scam me, right?
Right.
And just to always be cautious.
Okay, so there you go. That's the individuals, or should I say, this group of people that are falling for victim. Doc, moving on to the next question here, Doc. What should someone do when they realize they have fallen victim to fraud or scam?
So the first thing you do, okay, so the good thing now is a lot of mobile banking apps
Okay.
have got kill switches. The first thing I would do is to tap on that, shut down your whole account so no other transaction can take place.
Right.
Call your bank immediately. If you have to go down to the branch, go down to the branch. A lot of people have said call 997. That's a national scam hotline.
Right.
But what I've received a lot of feedback from people who have called that number. Basically, what happens is they just take a report, but it doesn't really stop the transaction, or the chances of actually getting the money back has been very slim. So I would say, instead of calling that number, it's better you call your bank first and just try to shut everything down to
Okay.
prevent any form of transaction taking place. And go to the bank and change your cards, change your accounts, whatever you need to do. That's the first thing you need to do.
Okay.
So another thing is also what I would suggest is for you to, if your phone has been hacked, because you've accidentally downloaded an app or anything like that, I would
Alright.
suggest you reformat your whole phone. That would be important,
Okay.
because what happens is sometimes the scammers will say, okay, I'm going to send you a file, you need to download it or click it, and what happens then, they've got access to your whole phone. So any messages that come in for an OTP, your banking, whatever you're typing, your passwords, all can be seen through their platform.
That is alarming.
Yeah, so what you do, you reformat your whole phone. That would be the other thing that you do.
Okay, so these are the only 2 pointers here,
The main ones.
main ones. And are there any organizations that can help the victims?
Well, originally the 997 national scam hotline is there for that, but again, I would say it's more effective if you were to call your bank straight. And again, then the next part is, of course, you go and you make a police report.
Okay.
But I think the police has made very clear statements. They are not there to get your money back. The police's job is to catch the scammers. So with those reports, one thing is good is that, and please, even though it's 10 ringgit, you've been a victim of scam for 10 ringgit,
Right.
go and make a police report. Because what the police would need is the numbers of scams that are coming through, the
Okay.
amount,
All right.
and sometimes the mobile numbers, and also all of that, account numbers. At least then they can do proper investigations, they can have proper statistics. The last thing we'll want is for the police to make a statement that scams are going down when it might actually in reality be going up, and their statement is not wrong, because they can only make it based on the statistics. And if
Right.
people don't make reports, you will not get the statistics. And also there's actually a website that you can go to, an app that you can download on Google Play. It's called Semak Mule. It's actually by the PDRM, right? So that's a good platform where you can see if anybody tells you, hey, bank into this account number, you check out if that account number is legitimate or not, if
Right.
anybody has flagged it off as a scammer's account,
Okay.
before you do any form of transaction.
Right.
Yeah.
So there you go. Few points that doctor has explained to us here, and where you should be going. And that's one website that I think it's very important.
Yes,
Semak Mule.
Semak Mule.
And always make your report to the authorities, because as what Doc said, that you cannot get back the money that you have or that has been lost, but the statistics will help. At least we know where we stand in the current situation.
Yes.
Yes, that's very important. So do your part, and we'll be back again after a short break. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Very interesting topic that we are talking here. Unmasking scams. Talking to Dr. Shamir Rajadurai. Once again, crime prevention specialist. And back in a bit for more questions, as we will be rounding up face-to-face on TRAXXfm's Momentum. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. Very good morning. This is Momentum Face to Face, and today's topic: unmasking scams. Interview of the day, second hour of the show. And just to let you know, it's a build-up also to the midday news. Now, talking with our guest in the studios, Dr. Shamir Rajadurai, crime prevention specialist. Very interesting topic. In the earlier part, we were talking about the types of scams that we have, and then we moved on to what is the red flag or what we should be looking out for in various types of scams that there is. The three main ones that Doctor did highlight. And of course, realizing what you do next. This is the very important one here. What do you do next when you are a victim of scam? And the most important one is definitely make a police report as soon as possible. Just to round up this last few questions here, Doctor. Doc, can you tell, or could you just tell us, where can the public learn more about scams? Is there a specific web page?
Actually, probably one of the not to promote myself, but one of the platforms that we do is that we provide a lot of information on scams. So you can actually follow us on Instagram, TikTok, or even my LinkedIn, Shamir Rajadurai, Shamir Rajadurai. And from time to time, we've just got videos of all kinds of scams which are going on, how it happens. So there's a lot of interesting insights in there. Even very recently, we demonstrated how deepfakes can happen, voice changes and all.
Right.
So please go and check it out. There's a lot of interesting tips over there, a lot of interesting up-to-date scams which are happening. What tools are being used out there as well. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. So yeah, just follow us on our social, and you'll be able to stay up to date on what's going on.
There you go. Once again, the social platform address.
Shamir, Shamir Rajadurai, Shamir Rajadurai.
There you go. So, especially going out to our listeners, that's where you get all your info and details, or where the public can learn more about scams. It's all on the web pages or social media platforms that Doc has mentioned. And Doc, finaling it up with our final question here. Now, what is your message to our listeners, and how to avoid falling victim to scams once again, and as we round it up?
Okay, thank you very much. So I think what I would just like to maybe end with is that we always have to be aware that scammers are going to come up with new techniques every day. When the police tries to catch them and they are up to date on those techniques, they're always going to come up with something new.
Right.
So always just stay on the lookout, be aware of what's going on. What's very important, I have to say, is that, for example, whatever information we share on our socials, please share it out to your friends, family, anybody, because the more people that stays up to date on the MOs of the scammers, the easier it will be for us to keep ourselves safe. So I think the easiest term is jangan kedekut ilmu lah, right? So always just share out. And one thing I just have to say, if ever anyone of authority calls you,
right,
and I know fear is going to kick in, but I think you just have to compose yourself and tell, it's like, hey, this is probably a scam. Anyhow, if needed, I will come down to the Bala and sort this out. I'll come down to the Mahkamah and sort this out. But don't tell me I have to bank in money to you. Right? So those are things. Anything, the minute someone says money, scam. Someone says money, scam. So if you get a call from your friends and family, say, hey, I need money, you put on the phone.
Come and see me personally.
Come and see me personally.
Right. That will be better, isn't it?
So I think that's probably what I want to share. But also, I think another thing I just want to do is to share as well with the listeners as well. You need to keep tuning in to shows like this. So I just want to say thanks to TRAXXfm again for doing this. We need more radio stations, more media to do this kind of things. Because this is really, at the end of the day, what makes a difference is actually what will help the public, right? So again, I think, and those of you who are listening in, please drop in a message on TRAXXfm socials, and please thank them for having this sort of segments, and hopefully you will be able to hear other segments like this, not just on scams which we do, but also other sorts of experts to come in and talk about things that are going to save your life. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This is really appreciative from your side, Doctor. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
And to my producers, Anna, Chenta, thank you so much. Lisham, thank you. Zam, wherever you are, buddy, Thank you so much. While our guests in the studios to run up our show today for Face to Face Momentum, different days with different topics, and our topic for today on Face to Face, Unmasking Scams, talking to Dr. Shamir Rajadurai. Thank you so much once again, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
Crime prevention specialist. Prevent crime now. News and top of the hour. I'll be back right after that. Stay tuned. This is TRAXXfm. I'm Gilbert here with you till 2 this afternoon.